Hello and welcome back to Ops with Void. I'm your host Forgotten Void, and this week we will be showcasing the USS Flint in Tough, the Ultimate Frontier. Flint, I actually have several different commanders that I use for Flint depending on the situation. Like I was using a different commander, so like I used a commander with a heavy HE for the D-Day ops, but normally I'm going to go with this kind of commander. So we have Last Stand, Focus Fire Training, Priority Target, Superintendent for the extra smoke, Concealment Expert for concealment. We have Inertia Fuse so that we have better HE pen, because a lot of ships will have this brings our HE pen to 26 millimeters instead of having 21 millimeters, which helps with a lot. Specifically, 25 millimeters is a big 25. I don't think there's much with 26, but 25 being able to penetrate 25 millimeters is a big step. And an adrenaline rush for reload time. Focus fire training is mainly for Hermes, just to have that around. Consumable skills expert for that. As for the equipment, just standard cruiser stuff. And then we have, you can choose between Def AA and Hydro. We have Def AA because I don't like being surprised by Hermes. Technically, yes, Hydro is better, but I don't like having planes in Hermes. Or I should say I like shooting them down. So that is, it's about the ship. These are the only two flags we're using. I guess I could have used this. I'm going to put this on here so I don't forget next time. Ooh, and this one, because then that will help us use smokescreen more often. And I do make about that much per game, so I am not worried about losing money. That said, let's go ahead and go into battle. Okay, so here we are. I'm actually in a div with two of my clan members, Curly and Doom, who also took cruisers. Then we have two Olens, Fiji, and a Tirpitz to round us out. So, Tankney Steve, if you watch this channel, hello, thank you for the game. It was nice playing with you. Two Olens. Now, Oland, I do like the ship. It's a fun ship. Especially with Halsey and building into torpedo reload. You can get very fast torpedo reload. They don't do that much damage, but they're fast. And so they're usually going to hit. And then the guns. You have 4 guns, but they're very fast reloading. So if you time it well, you can gun things down. But the lack of smoke means it's hard to disengage. Now, one thing is, as you see, we're actually stopping around this island. This is where, as a destroyer or any kind of close-range cruiser, you want to stop. Because if you get too close to the destroyers, they will run away. So, like, the Oland on the left, I mean, once they start going away, then you're kind of forced to chase them. But they have a minimum distance they like to keep. So because of that, it's easier to stay here and just shoot at them and like pass rather than trying to chase after them when they're smoking and make it difficult, especially when there's no carrier to spot. So Flint is really nice compared to the other Atlanta class cruisers because Chumfon also has the same thing. But similar thing. But Flint has 9.2 kilometer torps. They're slow, but they're really nice. What's the speed on these torps? Yeah, 55 knots. They're sea mines. But the same thing, the sea mines can also do well. So like, if you want to hit something or aim at something that's well out of range, then you can use it. So something, it's best when used with kiting. So like when something's approaching you. So we're gonna move up. Let's see, there's the New York. So we're gonna smoke now. We actually have distance on the New York. You can use both your torps for this, but we are just using one. Now the reason is because we didn't want to cross this line, but the Olin's crossing, because that will spawn the Clemson over here, which it will then go north into the bay. And so if you, this line right here, if you, sorry, this line right there, if you stay on this side of the line, don't pass the islands, then you won't spawn the Clemson. The same thing goes here. So if you go south of this line, so the battleship's going south of this line, south of the repair bay, then the Clemson will spawn to come up and say hi. Oh, there we go. There's a torpedo hit on the New York. And the same thing, it's in this area. So if you go inside this area here, so anything over here, this entire area is the trap for the spawn zone on the Clemson. And there we go. The fire killed that New York. So now, as you can see, we're actually doing HE damage to these battleships. It is more partially in due to the fact that we have the IFHE. If they're coming nose on at us, we could aim at their nose and still do damage. Whereas if we did not have IFHE, we would not be able to do damage. So Alt button. So when I press the Alt button, I get the actual smoke cooldown rather than the puff I'm in. I'm not sure if that's a standard thing or that's a mod thing. I do know my these symbols being clear is a mod thing. Now wait, swapping to armor piercing, hopefully to get more damage. But honestly, at this range, we're not going to get it. You have to be much closer. So I think around 6 kilometers or so is when you can start getting citadels. There we go. Now we have our smoke again. I'm not worried about torpedoes yet because I wasn't within torpedo range. Marblehead, I think it's 8 kilometers for torpedo range. Phoenix is much closer. Honestly, we probably would have done much better if I was using HE. Now, the Atlanta there is stuck with 500 HP. As you see, it was able to take out our Fiji. Because our Fiji didn't go for the broadside until too late, or approach the Atlanta. You don't... They misplayed when facing Atlanta. Probably thinking, American cruiser, no torpedoes. When... there's actually a lot of American cruisers that have torpedoes. Yeah, seeing the Omaha getting black, this is why I'm focusing on the rear one. Eventually, get to a point when we can Citadel it. And one of the things that's really difficult with torpedoing these ships is because they go fast, slow down, and then speed up again to their continued speed, and then they'll slow down one more time. There we go. And we got our citadels. As I said, about 6 kilometers is when we'll start to citadel them. And Tirpitz there has low health thanks to the Clemson, which is thanks to this Olin that's going to ram me. They did pass the threshold, which, you know, some people they want to have the Clemson spawn. Wacky Wyatt is a person I play with often. When he's in a CV, he says, "Go ahead, spawn the Clemson," and then he'll kill it with the carrier because he's really good with running carriers. And while he's true, while he is right, when we see a cruiser going up there, taking care of things, that is paying attention. That is someone actually taking care of the objective. We assumed, oh, he'll be fine. He died, leaving the Atlanta on 500 HP, so one of our other people had to do it. And it is true that you have to focus on the Atlanta because otherwise the Atlanta will kill ships. Like, it killed Kato. Battleship does not actually have to take care of that. A cruiser can absolutely go up and take care of them. But it has to do that as its main job and go up quickly. Although you have to make sure you don't die to torpedoes, or make sure you get a broadside of the Atlanta. Make sure you actually have the right angles, because if you're in a heavy cruiser, you don't want full broadside. You want angled ships to get citadels and to kill them quickly. If you are in a light cruiser, then you want full broadside to get citadels. You want a little bit of distance. Flint and Atlanta, I don't suggest going up there and taking care of them, not only because of the lower health, but also you have to get much closer to be able to citadel them. Whereas ships like Allende or Fiji's really good at this. Fiji's amazing at taking care of those cruisers, as long as you don't get torped by them or get set on fire, so they swap to AP and put a bunch of citadels into your broadside. So we're moving to the heel circle because we had taken damage, and this is a low HP ship. As you can see, my division mates are already moving out, because once you're at full HP, being in the circle doesn't really help much. And there, our Tirpitz is firing high explosive. Well, the high explosive with this high penetration values is nice. In bow on ships like that, it's better to swap to armor piercing, because a single hit could possibly be a citadel. And your armor piercing overpens do more damage than HE. And if the HE can hit the citadel, usually the AP can too. So we went at the Omaha. I think I'd be able to shoot the Omaha, but nope. One of our Olins, a tank named Steve, is able to take care of it. But he went too close. There were way too many enemies in that area. So when you're going as a destroyer, you do not want to go after the carrier, usually. The reason is, one, there's an island that blocks it from getting sniped easily. Two, the destroyers and the cruiser will chase after the nearest enemy, or the nearest player. They will chase after the nearest player and push it away a certain distance. They actually are well programmed for escorting a carrier. And players are not used to bots that can actually do work. So we're actually going to swing back and help with the destroyers, the whiskey, because I believe one of my division mates will be able to get the carrier, and my other division mate needs help with these destroyers. Okay, Doom got the carrier, so we don't have to worry about that. Using the island mostly as cover between him and the destroyers. But now he's going after destroyers, which in the Aliande is not the best idea because it does not have short fuse armor piercing like Fiji does. And North Carolina says Curly's not allowed to live. So I'm next. Now, I could smoke up. Or I could go steal this smoke. And I think I'm going to go steal this smoke. Now, seeing as I'm within 9 kilometers of Cleveland, and it did not radar me, I'm like, that doesn't have radar. Try and speed juke anything. Let's see. Torps on North Carolina. And as soon as I enter the smoke, there's the radar. I see the North Carolina shells going in, and I'm hoping just broadside tanking. There we go. And radar end. Okay, there we go. The radar has ended. So now we're turning because we're on fire, and they're shooting armor piercing. And I'm seeing, and no, I can't throw out torps. You have a short time left to impress me. Now I don't know where the destroyers are, so I don't know if I should be able to can shoot or not. But I do know there's a heal circle, and I should go for that. So we're going to go for the heal circle. Now here, we're going to be within range of ships anyways. So we might as well shoot. See if we can get rid of them. Like this Omaha here. That we sit it out to death. And this is where I realized that I'm out of the gun range of the ships. So I can shoot. And as soon as they go behind the island, then I'll be undetected. And that's due to our really short gun range. Now we're going to smoke up and heal. Because it's only me and the Turpits left. And that Turpits is leaving the heal circle. So we have torpedoes out on the North Carolina. North Carolina is going to die. Not a question. Going to die. There we go. Now we can focus on the Dallas, because the Dallas is the threat to the main base. All the other ships, those other 5, that's bonus wave. They don't matter. They actually don't really get to the end until way too late. They might be able to take out a fort, and that's about it. This Dallas is going to get there much sooner. So we're going to focus on that. And with the Dallas dead, we can now just shoot at whatever we want. We're going to try for those destroyers. But at this range. And the fact that you can have a salvo in the air while shooting another. It's not like Atlanta where you can have multiple salvos in the air. And I kind of gave up on there. So we're going to do the Cleveland next. But the floaty, long projectile. And then since Cleveland went out, we're going to focus on Iowa. Iowa's a big enough target to hit. And now we're detected. But it doesn't matter. Because it's 8 seconds on the clock. And even if they were to start shooting at us, we'd probably survive until the victory. And victory. So here's where staying alive. This is where the heal circle is okay to abuse. Because it's staying alive so you can win. And this is how we were able to pull off a will to win. It's pretty rare. It's been several months since I've gotten this because most of the time my team is alive. Or you need to complete one secondary task on your own and it's really hard to do those. So in Newport, it's killing Musashi or Yamato. If you do that and still win, then it's pretty easy to get that. In Aegis, if all your team dies but you're able to save all the transport ships, then you can get will to win there. Or you're the last person alive and you're able to kill the last battleship right before the transports get in. That's another way to get will to win in Aegis. On this one, it was having 3 forts alive. And Cherry Blossom, it's not possible unless things go really, really bad. Like, either a toggle has to stay alive, or all your allies are dead before the planes start even showing up. Yeah. So for the most part, it's really difficult to get this. Like, things have to work just right. Here we just got lucky with the forts being alive, kind of thing. So 255k damage, 545,000 hits, 9 kills, only 9 citadels, and that's from the 2 of the Omahas. And that puts us top of the team at 1700 base XP. VG, somehow were complaining about the team being bad, and somehow they managed to have 1000 base XP with how little they did, just going up and taking care of a couple cruisers. So getting 1000 base XP is pretty easy. Getting over that is where things start getting challenging. North Carolina, that we hit with 4 torps for 39k damage. The New York, which was 1 torpedo and 62 shell hits. The Omaha there, armor piercing. New Mexico, lots of HE shells. Bunch of HE shells. Let's see. Cleveland, we did 9k to. That's the Cleveland that lived. The Mahan that lived. And the Iowa. Oh, it's not in Missouri. It's in Iowa. Either way. They're both a Iowa class. And I was running greens, so this is what I get for running greens. If you like this video, you want to see more videos, go ahead and hit that like button. So click that subscribe button. If you didn't like this video or you don't want to get notifications, then don't click those buttons. Can't tell you what to do because I'm not your mother. That said, I do hope to see you again next week. Have a good one.